So, how are you coping personally with everything, and how is it affecting you?
It's been a very challenging time.
Cool.
The last couple of weeks have been pretty tough. This COVID-19 pandemic has really put us into uncharted waters. It's something that we're being asked to do things today that we just we're not really set up to do, and it's been very challenging.
What all have you been doing to try and keep yourself occupied?
Well, keeping myself occupied has not been a problem. I have been busy almost 24/7, between communications with my administrative cabinet, communications with principals, with the Genesee Intermediate School District, with parents and things of that nature. It's been pretty well nonstop. I get up in the morning and immediately start checking emails, checking text messages. There's plenty to do. In all honesty, this is because of the unknowns and all of the things that have happened. We're spending more time meeting and talking, sometimes in person and sometimes virtually, than normal. So keeping occupied has not been an issue. We've all been working pretty much 24/7 for the last couple of weeks.
So, I know that a lot of students and parents have been wondering what's to come. So, what can we expect with this?
Yeah, Emily, that's a good question, and I wish I knew. When this thing first started, everything escalated so quickly. I can remember on Tuesday, March 10th, we had an election and we passed a rather large facilities bond for the district. By Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m., I was at a county superintendent's meeting at the Genesee Intermediate School District, and basically the only thing we were discussing was COVID-19, and how this pandemic was going to impact all of the local school districts. We on Thursday, I actually did a blog with Mr. Scott, and I addressed our community. At that time, this would have been Thursday, March 12th. The county health department was not recommending that schools close, and we were just trying to get our arms around dealing with this virus. And that night, the governor came out and basically shut down schools. So at that point, now we were scrambling to figure out, how we're going to respond to a closure when we don't really know how long that closure is going to last. There were a lot of expectations of us to provide food for the community, to engage students in online academic learning, to not and to do things, quite honestly, that we just weren't prepared to do. So it's changed very rapidly. Just yesterday, we had to alter our feeding program. At a week ago Monday, we started a district feeding program, and we started providing meals to families in the Davison community, and really anywhere, because people can come from anywhere to these sites to get food. And that first day, we provided 735 meals to Davison families. By the end of the week, we were providing over 1,500 meals to families in the Davison area. And yesterday, the number of people that were showing up for food was, we ran out of food within about 30 to 40 minutes at most of our feeding sites. We just can't keep up with the demand. I mean, we have limited personnel that are available to prepare the meals and provide the meals. So yesterday we made a very difficult decision that we would no longer do home deliveries, and that we would reduce the number of sites, distribution sites where food was available. But the only way we can continue to meet the needs of at least some of the people is to do that, because we just don't have the staff to be able to provide food on such a grand scale throughout the course of this pandemic.
So what actions have the schools been taking since this whole shutdown?
Well, one of the first things that we did was to start that food program and initiate that food program. And that has been primarily based at Central Elementary. So a lot of our cooks and bus drivers, parapros, teachers, a lot of staff has been volunteering to help us prepare and distribute those meals. We also began collecting and providing educational resources for students. We started the process of creating and utilizing some hard copy resources that were provided to us from the Genesee Intermediate School District, because we really had a couple of we had a couple main goals. Number one is to try to keep kids engaged with the school and their education, and number two was to provide food to our students and needy families in the Davison community. So those two things were really our primary focus, and they remain our primary focus. Now with the stay home order, we're struggling a little bit more because we don't have employees that can work. Either, some of them may fear that they've been exposed to the virus, or they're concerned about getting the virus themselves. So what we're seeing is our employee numbers who are willing to work to do these things are dwindling a bit. Our volunteers are starting to dwindle. And don't get me wrong, we're so very grateful to all of our employee groups for giving their time and their willingness to do this, to serve the community and our kids. But it's a very, very challenging time. And while those are our two main concerns, we also have employee issues. We're making sure that all of our employees, even our hourly employees, are continuing to be paid during the shutdown. So we're trying to do everything we can to lessen the impact for our employees, our students, and our community. But it's been very challenging.
What are some positive things that have been coming out of this, if at all any?
Well, I guess probably the number one positive thing is the number of people in the Davison area, in the community, whether it's the school, our business partners, that are willing to step up and help out. We've been, our food service employees have been preparing the meals, but we've had numerous volunteers that have been involved in helping package those meals, helping to deliver those meals. We've had teachers and paraprofessionals and other district employees that are willing to give up their time on numerous days in order to be available and assist with all of these different things that we're trying to do. I think the sense of community in Davison has always been strong. I've said it before, I'll continue to say it, that we have probably the best community support of any school district that I could imagine. We see that continuing. I only wish that we could do more, but the people coming together, working together to try to provide the educational resources and the food for our students and their families has been really the number one bright spot.
And do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Oh, I guess, just hang in there. We're doing the best we can. We all need to stick together, and this too shall pass. We don't know how long it's going to take, and we know that people are hurting. And I wish that we could do more. We're going to do everything we can, to communicate and stay in touch with our students and to keep them engaged and involved with schools. we're going to do everything we can to help out in the community by providing the food and things like that. But unfortunately, we are limited. I mean, we're not set up to be a food provider for thousands of people daily. We do that in our schools, but that's a little bit different setting. And trying to do it the way we have, it's been difficult. But I'm hoping that before long things will get back to normal. So hang in there, do what you can. We'll help where we're able, and just everybody kind of hang together.
All right, Mr. Brown, can you hang out for like 2 more questions and then we'll let you go? First one is,
Sure.
Nobody saw this coming. This is not the job you signed up for. How much different is this from you now, just making everything work?
Well, it's been incredibly different, and it's not just for me; it's for all of us. This is so unprecedented. Never before, to my knowledge, in history, has something like this happened. And so, we've all seen our lives transformed. We've seen our duties change dramatically. Our focus has to be now on the entire community and what we can do to help the entire community, not just on educating kids. It's been a remarkable change, and now more than ever, the use of technology and people working remotely and communicating remotely. This interview, for example. I mean, we're using something called Zoom. I used it with my staff just yesterday, as a matter of fact, to have a cabinet meeting. It's something I had never even heard of or had any experience with, basically before the end of last week and this weekend. So things have changed dramatically. Our role has changed, and I don't know. It's hard for me to even describe the amount of time I now spend on email and through text message. And thank God for the technology, because without it, I don't know how we would stay in touch with our students and our community. So, I guess, thank goodness we have it, because we definitely need it right now.
Okay, last one. Are you getting everything you need? What do you need, and what do schools need? And is the state coming through with everything you need, or what is it out there that would help you, do your job better?
Well, that's a tough question to answer. We're in a different situation than most, in that we anticipate that the state is going to forgive these days. We're not going to be penalized in state aid, although that has not happened yet. The state is providing a lot of guidance with regards to how we continue to do business. I don't know. It's not like it's not like we're in a medical profession where we need supplies and and things like that to care for sick people. The Genesee Intermediate School District has been very helpful. They've put together educational resources that we're sharing with parents to use at home with their students. There are a lot of free educational resources like Khan Academy that we're promoting and utilizing. So we are probably getting the things that we need to do the things that we absolutely need to do, but we don't really know all of what we need to do. That still remains to be seen. We don't know how long the shutdown is going to take. We don't know what's going to happen to students. We're pretty confident that as professional educators, when this thing turns around, we're going to get our kids back up to speed and get them to where they need to be. But we don't really know what the future holds. And we could have seen our last day of school for the year. or we could be back to school in a couple weeks. There's just no way to predict. So we just have to be flexible, roll with the punches, and do whatever we can to support our kids and our community.
Okay, I think that does it. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown.